U.S. Army deployed at the border, and they have some news reports and then more of this inspiring music showing American trucks with soldiers moving to the border region, getting ready for the invasion. And another guy on the internet that I saw who does not like Trump at all, and it's hard to say if he's a leftist or a libertarian or whatever he is, but he calls himself Florida Maquis, and you never see him. But so anyway, he says, well, if this is an invasion, it's the first invasion by a horde of people wearing tank tops and flip-flops. And being confronted by troops armed with water bottles and hospital tents. So it's not what Trump says, but Trump can create the kind of thing that, create a lot of problems. And I do have a roll-in that we're going to get into in just another minute or so here, where Trump, among the other things he says, this is about 10 to get.
Well, don't worry, Mark. Don't worry. This is hopeful. What happened yesterday?
It is hopeful. I know it's hopeful, but it's not as hopeful as it could be.
And well, we have a pig in the White House, but people is already organizing, voting, participating in the political process, and this is hopeful, Mark. That
is hopeful. But tonight, rather than just celebrating a lot, I'm going to share my worries about this guy and what's happened to probably the majority of white people in the United States, unfortunately, strangely enough. Woo, how weird.
But what?
The majority of white people in the U.S.,
yes,
given the whole population, are actually the base of Trump's support. That's his support. So most white people have lost their mind in the United States. Crazy, and especially white guys. They're really now off the rocker, a lot of them. And so Trump says crazy stuff, and since he's the president, and he's telling them things that match up with their what used to be more subterranean, more not on the surface prejudices and hates, now they're coming to the surface, and Trump benefits from that. Now, one thing he said was, if rocks are thrown by this horde invading the United States, that the military is now arming against this invasion, and they're going to be down there. If any rocks are thrown, then the military is going to open fire.
That's ridiculous, Mark. That's ridiculous.
But it can cause what he's saying. I don't really think he wakes up in the morning and he's like a loose cannon on the deck of a ship that will, explode. And it's not going to be to the benefit of the ship. But he can cause all sorts of harm by saying that because he's the commander. So he could. So anyway, that's the kind of thing that he can do, and he generates support for himself by doing that. So if we could go into that, we'll come back and talk about just how bizarre and evil.
Don't worry, Mark. Don't worry. People is organized right now. We are here, and we are not afraid.
Well, here is some of the evil creature himself, who's unfortunately president of the United States, and to that extent deserves respect for his constitutional position, but we need to get him out of there constitutionally as soon as possible. And this is why.
Chumpy?
Yes.
Chumpy.
Donald
Chumpy.
Okay. Are we ready? Let's go with that. Yeah.
What's going on, Mike?
You'll need to turn it up now because now we can't hear it. No, now you turned it down, Frank. You turned it up. Frank.
John Matthias is watching. Hey, hi, John Matthias.
Frank, we can't hear it.
Will fulfill my sacred obligation to protect our country and defend the United States of America. And this is a defense of our country. We have no choice.
All right.
We have no choice. We will defend our
borders. So that language is
Thank you very much.
Like they're an army.
Goodbye. We are listening Hi, John
It's
Matias.
consistent with the
Hello.
city gathering, but I will say that by doing that, tremendous numbers, under the Obama plan, you could separate children. They never did anything about that. Nobody talks about that.
That's a lie,
But
Mark.
under President Obama, they separated children from the parents. We actually put it so that that didn't happen. But what happens when you do that is you get tremendous numbers of people coming. It's almost like an incentive to, when they hear they're not going to be separated, they come many, many times over. But President Obama separated the children from the parents and nobody complained. When we continue the exact same law,
It's a lie. That's a
this
lie.
country went crazy.
Say that. Man.
So we are going to continue and try to
he
continue
did better
what we're
know in
doing.
this
But
inhumane
it's a
way.
tremendous incentive for people to try. But it's going to be very, very hard for people to come into our country. So
Hello,
we
John.
think we'll be able to do that.
We're having a video right now.
It's the military. I hope there won't be that. But I will tell you this, anybody throwing stones, rocks, like they did to Mexico, the Mexican military, Mexican police, when they badly hurt police and soldiers of Mexico, we will consider that a firearm.
There.
Because there's not much difference when you get hit in the face with a rock.
We won't consider what?
Which, as you know,
If anyone's throwing rocks, we'll consider it a
Very,
firearm.
very violent.
Well, he's
It
crazy.
It was
He's
a break-in
crazy.
in a country. They broke into Mexico. And you look at what's happening in Guatemala,
Dangerous.
just to mention Guatemala, along with
Hello,
El
Neil.
Salvador and Honduras.
We're listening to a
It's
video
disgraceful that
of
those
Donald
countries
Trump.
aren't able to stop this, because they should be able to stop it before it starts. And the United States pays them a fortune. And we're looking at not doing that anymore, because why should we be doing that when they do nothing for us? Yeah. Jeff, go ahead. How is this plan going to be legal, considering current law? Oh, this is totally legal. No, this is legal. We're stopping people at the border. This is an invasion, and nobody's even questioning that. In terms of your plans to change asylum, are you going to use the executive order? You don't have to release. You can hold. The problem is, to hold people, you need massive facilities. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Another country says, sorry, you can't come in. With us, we take their name, take their phone number, take their everything and say, good luck. Only because we don't have the facilities to hold people. But we're building the facilities now. We're building massive numbers of tents, and we will hold them in tents. You don't have to release them. They released them only because they didn't have the facilities to hold them.
Well, this is scandalous, Mark. This is terrible.
What is it?
Yeah. This is like a dictator from the Middle East.
Many of the things we've talked about.
Mr. President, so so just to clarify, you are speaking of in the tents, these family units that would arrive of the children.
But what's happened is we are holding so many facilities, so many people, that our facilities are being overrun. They're being overrun. And we are putting up temporary facilities. Eventually people won't be coming here anymore when they realize they can't get through.
So they will hold the children in those tents with their
We're
parents.
holding the family and the children together. Remember this, President Obama separated children from families. And all I did was take the same law, and then I softened the law. But by softening the law, many people come up that would not have come up if there was separation. Political. About a caravan of thousands of people and now others forming, pouring up into our country. We have no idea who they are. All we know is they're pretty tough people when they can blast through the Mexican military and Mexican police. They're pretty tough people. Even Mexico said, wow, these are tough people. I don't want them in our country. And women don't want them in our country. Women want security. Men don't want them in our country, but the women do not want them. Women
We
want
have some
security.
kind of
Look at what
sound glitch.
the women are looking for. They want to have security. They
A
don't
little
want
bit
to have
off
these
for
people in
some
our
reason. I have
country.
to ask about
And
that.
they're not going to be in our country.
Anyway, saying they're going to attack the women.
He's just insane. Like, what is he saying?
People are going to have a chance to go for asylum. But if you look at the records, not very many people are allowed to stay once they go to court. But what happens is they were using asylum First of all, they were told what to say by lawyers and others.
All right, can we
Read the
stop
statement.
this?
You read the
It's about
statement, and now
time.
you're seeking asylum. The whole thing is ridiculous, and we won't put up with it.
President Trump, U.S. law and international law says that people who have valid claims have a right to seek asylum. So why would
They're gonna go to court. They're gonna go to court, as crazy as it sounds. They're going to go, excuse me, ready? They're gonna go to court. And a judge is gonna determine, but usually when they go to court, they're deported. It just seems that most of the people are deported once they go. The problem is they never end up going to court.
It's about a
because
quarter
when they
second
come in,
off the
they're
sound
told to come back
from the video.
a year for a court case. And they disappear into the United States, never to be seen again.
her law
But we're
doesn't
gonna
say
be,
about
and they're given
holding
deportation notices. We will be deporting those people.
Goodbye,
The
goodbye,
objective
Chompy.
behind this alert, is it a bad
Who's
thing?
this?
And the question remains, what is the objective behind this alert? Is it, and the question
Okay,
remains,
okay, we can stop.
what is the objective
Stop.
behind this alert?
Stop. Okay, just stop it, but get ready to start it again there. Okay.
Well, this is just the speech of a madman, Mark.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't make any sense. Like, why are you gonna, like, the army is gonna shoot women and children because they throw you around?
See, I didn't hear this. I heard it through NPR, and they didn't cover it for several days after he said this. Most of the US media, CNN and MSNBC, didn't cover that statement. Fox covered that statement. Everyone else blipped it because they thought that is so irresponsible to say that if rocks are thrown, then it'll be considered a firearm, strongly implying that that means that the army will shoot at people who might be throwing rocks or maybe spitballs or paper airplanes.
Well, but I mean, like, you think that the army is really going to do something like that? I don't
He's-
think so.
He's the constitutional head army guy. He's the
Well,
commander
yeah,
of the
but
army.
probably the soldiers out there and says the old man is just crazy, man.
Well, I will say-
I'm not going to shoot a woman.
I
or
will
a
say
child
this at the moment
because
that-
somebody's thrown me a rock.
at the
Come on.
moment, off of the top of his head, just kind of operating off of an attitude. Trump has an attitude that helps him win power.
Well,
so I'm just, let me-
he is somebody who likes to bark, you know.
right. He likes to bark, and he says, "I like to bark." I didn't mean that they were going to shoot. Then you say,
Yeah.
"Well, why did you say that?" Oh, it's an attitude. It's part of a deeper truth, you know. But it's very dangerous, and this, you know, I don't really think that this is a guy who, if it came down to his power or not, would question whether or not, you know, maybe a few people being killed by, you know, gunfire might be for the best interest of the country. because it'd
It
the
would
best
be
interest of
like a
Trump.
big scandal, Mark. Big scandal, like right now, like Mexican. You know what? The statements of some of the people that's in the caravan. They say Mexicans are sharing their beans and tortillas with us. You know, I mean, meaning that
Oh,
poor
they're sharing. They're sharing.
poor people is like feeding these immigrants. You know, offering water. The government has some hospitals. Like, you know, like improvise some kind of medical attention for them. Many people they are moving because some people says like, oh, I have this big truck, semi. You can come and I can give you a ride for several miles, and you know that's how they're moving. They have children, like little babies, you know, and some of them are sick because, you know, walking on this heat, like 100 degrees, 90 degrees, 100% humidity in the southern Mexico. It's unbelievable. And I would like to add this is a situation created by the U.S. government. If you remember, in the 1980s, Ronald Reagan, a Republican president, sent Green Berets and other militaries to train dead squads to kill people in El Salvador, Honduras, Guatemala. They send millions of dollars in weapons and training for these dead squads and armies that.
Well,
So
There-
this
There
is
were actual U.S. military elements actually involved in combat as well. There were battles fought. Thousands of people were even killed by American gunships.
bombs, no?
Well, a kind of cannon flying big propeller plane. I forget what they called it, but it had a computer on board and it had sophisticated
Missiles, no?
It had heat signature detection stuff that aimed the cannon and the machine guns and thousands of people. So you had American advisors who had suitcases, and the suitcase was a way to communicate with the American Air Forces. The American Air Forces would then come and say, "Oh, our guys are surrounded, our advisors," and then they would direct the strike that then would kill. In one time, there were 1,500 rebel forces that were surrounding them, or actually, they may have been Nicaraguan government forces, and then they were killed. So things like that did happen. So-called Latino assets of the United States were
So
involved.
this is what happened. They destroyed the social fabric
Yes.
of Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and now there is poverty. They have an oligarchy that takes all the money, all the resources.
The U.S. was supporting an oligarchy that was even genocidal because it wanted to acquire.
They are supporting.
It wanted to acquire Indian land, Native American
Mayans.
traditional land held communally by Mayans, which I guess made them communists supposedly, and so this was a justification. And
In Honduras, it's different. It's more the population is a little bit different. They have more African descendants, African American descendants in Honduras. A lot of them, and also but this is terrible because there were U.S. bases in Honduras during the 80s. I don't know if they are still there. Maybe they are still there. But this crisis was created by the U.S. government.
so, is it true what Trump said that he softened Obama's policy, and it was actually Obama's policy to separate the families at the border? You say that wasn't true.
No, this is there's been separation, but not to this level. No, there is no. Obama never put children in cages.
Well, I think
That's a lie from Trump, who lies all the time.
Trump was trying, and Sessions were trying to be brutal at the border in order
They
to
are.
dissuade immigration.
They are being brutal, but I mean the crisis is just this humanitarian crisis has just exploded on their faces. They create the conditions. The government of the United States and the army, they destroy the social fabric of those countries. Now we have extreme poverty. They got guns there. If you don't leave with your children, they recruit your children, or they kill your children, or they do all kinds of horrible things to your family. So what is a Honduran father or mother says? Well, I leave. I don't care. I don't want to die here. I'd rather to die on my way to United States than to die here without no hope in Honduras.
Well, Trump
So
is.
this is. I mean, Trump doesn't even understand this. Like, he's so ignorant that he thinks, oh, they're coming here and they're gonna invade my country. But he doesn't even understand that in the 80s they create these social conditions.
I think that what's really important about what's going on and what Trump is saying is that this is how he became president. This is how he gains power. He divides the country through this kind of talk, and by building this up into an invasion and saying that these Central Americans are going to start raping American women, and American women need protection. Women need security from this. So
which is a lie, Mark. How many people? Like 7,000 people are coming from Honduras, right? Well, a lot of people in Guatemala went back. You know, the Guatemalan army sent these trucks and says, whoever wants to go back to Honduras, there is so many trucks available. Many of these people went back, like a few hundred people, like 500 people went back. Then they crossed the border with Mexico, and some people in the army, the Mexican army did the same. The Mexican government says there are trucks available, buses available for people who wants to go back. So another few hundred left. I don't know how many, 200, 300. So you see, like it was 7,000. Now there are like less than 5,000 people. So along the way, little by little, people is like say, forget about this. You know, this is insane.
Another thing that Trump said is that there's another caravan of even more people, 7,000 people is forming, and they're even more dangerous than the first caravan. And there's another one after that, he said. So is that true? Or is this the way?
I haven't seen any real reports about this. There are journalists following the caravan. There is people there, like Mexican journalists and Mexicans. I mean, from other countries, from the U.S. and all over the world, following this caravan. And it's not such thing, man. These are families with little children who just want to come to the United States because they want to be safe.
Well, what is
they see
the caravan is a way to travel safely, without
and it's a way of traveling safe.
Toyota is exploiting the
and look at all the danger they are exposed. Like there are reports that some people is missing already. Some people got in trucks and they don't know where they are. So they know the danger. So when the Mexican government says, well, here are some buses and you can go back, many people says, forget about this. You know, I don't have to do this. I can. I'd rather go back to Honduras or wherever I came from than to endure this stress and horrible conditions, like walking under the sun, like, you know, the temperatures in Mexico are like 90 degrees, 100 degrees, you know, walking without water, without food. How much can you walk in one day? And where are you going to stay? You had to wash your clothes. You had to go to the bathroom. You had to eat. You had to drink water. I mean, all these, Trump doesn't see all these horrible conditions these people is enduring to be here in the United States and enjoy the American way of life. You know, that's the truth. No? He doesn't say this, and he would never understand this.
I don't think understanding it is important to him. I really think that the only thing that's important is that he maintains power and increases his power. And this helps him to do that because he creates an emergency. He even builds it up to a military emergency. He even calls it an invasion, and that women are in danger in the United States. And I mean, and he continues to generate the whole.
Well, I will tell to the American public, just think a little bit of, you know how many hours is driving like 80 miles per hour from the Laredo border to the Mexico City? Like, you know how many hours is driving?
36 hours, maybe?
18 hours.
Oh, well, not as much.
Driving
80 miles per hour, okay.
80 miles per hour or faster, maybe 90 miles per hour. That's the distance that you had to cover from Mexico City to the border, the closest border that is Laredo.
And they're walking.
And they are walking. You know, like just to approach Mexico City, you practically had to climb this mountain. You know, like going up, and then down, and then, like this is for 50 miles or more miles just to get to Mexico City, and then keep. I mean, it's insane. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I don't really know how they're gonna do this.
We have another rolling. Actually, we can let this other one start, and there's a couple of different roll-ins, but we'll just let it start. I'll tell you to stop. We might even chop it into two pieces. This is Lisa Haven, and she's a internet person. She's kind of far right-wing. She's a big Trump supporter.
What are you putting there, Mark?
She talks about, because this is my show, she talks about how she loves Trump, and she has videos lately saying that we're heading into a civil war. And she says it's the Democrats who are preparing for civil war. And then other times she says, we've got to be ready to, fight tooth and nail, even violently with the Democrats. And she's
a freak, no?
No, she's not the only one. This is the thing. There's lots of this now. And there's even a group of, they say that they're former intelligence people in the US government who are pro-Trump and anti-deep state. And they are saying that Trump told them that Trump is going to declare martial law. And he's going...
That's insane, Mark.
I don't
That's
think...
insane.
Listen, Trump is willing to do anything, and the Constitution of the United States does not matter to Trump. And he is so warping the country that this
the Democrats have the House now. So it's not that easy to take a decision.
The Democrats can investigate, but you saw during the Kavanaugh hearings...
he's panicking. He just fired Sessions.
Yes.
He has something more in his mind, the caravan, the Mexican caravan. Mueller is gonna make soon a statement, and he is panicking, man.
You have to remember how important it was for them to get Kavanaugh in there. Kavanaugh clearly is a liar. So we have a liar who doesn't really care that he lies, and it's obvious that he lies, because all over the main media, you had people going on CNN and MSNBC who were saying, I was his roommate for a year, and he's a liar. He's a total liar. There's total lies that he was saying. And even though that was the case,
he's a drunk.
But see, the important thing is that they wanted him in despite how embarrassing it was, and despite the fact that he was very transparently a liar. So what does that mean? They need him in order to be their ace in the hole when it comes to martial law, when it comes to Trump doing all of these insane things that a lot of these people say he's about to do. I was going to talk about this QAnon group. This QAnon group says that Trump told them that there's 45,000 arrests pending, that Trump already signed a National Security Act preparing.
Signed what?
He signed a preparatory document giving himself the power to declare martial law and to make 45,000.
Who's saying this, Mark?
I'm saying, let me say,
Okay.
a group called QAnon, and they say that they're former and current.
Mark, this is insane.
You have to let me finish.
Okay, all right.
They say that they are former and current employees of the US government, and that Trump leaked them this information. At a Trump rally, they showed up with signs saying, QAnon, we're QAnon. And Trump said, I love those guys, QAnon, I love those guys. So it's not entirely insane, but it could be just a ploy by Trump. But I want you to see Lisa Haven and realize that she's not alone. The internet is full of this stuff. So let's go. Let's look at crazy Lisa Haven and realize there's lots of
she's
them.
insane.
In order to win. And the sad news is they're making
There's lots of
headway
them.
with their Trump
They're
card,
not
and it's
alone.
terrifying, because this Trump card
This is how
will
Hitler happened. This is what I'm
turn the
saying.
America you and
It's
I know and
dangerous.
love inside out. And I do believe that's the actual agenda from the Democratic Party. So what is the Trump card? Well, it's a bogus, fake race war being pushed by the Democratic left. They have literally put every Republican personnel, every single Trump supporter, they're now labeling as a xenophobic, bigot, racist. If you simply subscribe to that narrative, or a conservative, or a Christian,
now
or
we're
any
listening
part
to
of the
this
Republican
freak.
Party and love Trump, you therefore are a racist enemy. And
She doesn't
they
even wash her
literally
hair.
believe it. They have literally put us in the field and the same label as Nazis
Look
and
at
the Ku
that.
Klux Klan members. And they've managed to
Well, I'll have to
convince
mention
all
that.
their
Pablo
people
says,
who
how
subscribe
can we
to the
believe her?
Democratic
She
Party,
doesn't
not
even wash
all,
her hair.
but a lot of those on the left that are more brainwashable to actually believe that narrative.
Look at that.
The
No,
only
crazy.
reason you would do that.
I think she
is
just
if you
uses
want
too
to
much
start
cream rinse.
riots.
Filthy.
If you want to start a civil war. And I believe the Trump card by the
Never
Democratic
trust a
Party
filthy
is to
person.
start that civil war so they can make it into office. We have literally become, just for being a political leader, the scum of the earth in the eyes of the
What's that?
Democrats. Think about it this way. The only way the Democratic Party could justify or get their followers, those who are
Viviana,
following their
whatever.
lead,
Oh,
to
hi,
justify
Viviana.
attacks
We're
against
listening
the other
now.
side, physically I'm talking about, is to tell their
Keep it
followers
running.
that Republicans and conservatives are the scum of the earth and they're racist. And therefore, now their followers feel justified
Well,
on the attack
we are
against
hopeful.
the other
The
side.
Democrats took
Because
the
they've
House,
been
Mark.
told by their leaders that those people are like Nazis and are going to start another mass murder killing of people. And
They
their
are.
followers are literally believing
She's
it.
talking
and
about the
they're
Democrats.
justifying violence against Trump supporters.
Yeah,
It's sick.
I know about what time it is.
Let me
15
take
minutes.
you back to a few quotes from some of these leaders, so you can hear it
She's
straight
just saying
from
the
their mouth
Democrats are the
and not
Nazis.
mine. Let's go back to Maxine Waters. Take a listen.
Let's say the course.
Oh, this is
Let's make
Maxine
sure we
Waters.
show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that
calls her a very
cabinet
low
in a
IQ person.
restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a
She's encouraging people to vote. I mean, what are the aggressions?
Well, Lisa Haven is saying she's calling for violence against Republicans. That they're going to
She's
attack the Republicans.
she's encouraging people to vote.
Well, that's what you should
She's,
say.
she's never
Tell
calling
me,
to
what does
violence.
she mean? Knock off. That means kill, attack, assassinate the president
Knock
and the vice president. Not only that, but
This
she
woman is
even
crazy,
encouraged,
Mark.
her own
The
followers
Republicans are crazy.
to
The
incite
German people
violence
went crazy.
by not
Right?
allowing Trump supporters and Trump cabinet
But they
members
weren't
into their
crazy,
restaurants.
crazy. They went
And by the
politically
way, as
crazy.
many of you
But
know
at
who
least
watch my
in
channel,
Michigan, they
that's
show they are not
exactly
that crazy.
what they did, because they're following
Victory! Victory!
every breadcrumb being given.
Victory.
The Democratic Party leaders within are attempting to start that civil war as their trump card, but it's not just her. Take a
Oh my
listen to one of
God.
Obama's officials and what he has to say. Here's
This
Eric Holder.
freak.
The public says that, when they go low, we go high. When they go low, we kick.
It doesn't mean literally. And she's going to say,
It's just,
assassinate.
oh my God. It's just, this is just ridiculous.
That's a new one. When they go low, he says, kick them. Kick them.
In the
That's
teeth.
violence.
In the
That's
teeth.
encouraging people to be violent with the other side. I have never heard this level of
We're
rhetoric.
not violent, Mark. What are you
That is
talking
what the
about?
new Democratic Party is about. Why? Because the Democratic Party is painting the other side, Trump supporters and Republicans, as racist, a fake and false claim. Kick them, he says. What is Hillary Clinton, former presidential candidate ×2, and who may run again or is running again, I'm not quite sure. Take a listen to what she says.
Cannot be civil with a political party that wants to destroy what you stand for, what you care about. That's why I believe if we are fortunate enough to win back the House and/or the Senate, that's when civility can start again.
Don't be
Civility. She's calling for civility.
Civil as in gracious, courteous, and kind. Don't be that to those who are Republicans, to those on the other side. Maybe I've got my definition. of
Oh my
civil
God, Bar,
wrong.
this is
Let's go,
crazy.
to the dictionary here.
Okay, well, you can
Top
say that.
up. This is Webster's
Yeah, I agree.
dictionary.
It's crazy.
Relating to citizens.
But it's
To
not
act
alone. That's the
courteous,
thing.
polite, and mannerly.
The Republicans have lost their mind. They are the Trumpers.
Mannerly.
They are exactly what Trump wants them to
You
be.
don't need any of those
At
things.
least Michigan
Oh, yeah.
has sensibility.
Be the
All right,
opposite
cut it
of that,
out.
the antonyms
No,
of
it's
that,
over.
right?
It's
That would mean
almost
be
over.
discourteous, because that's an antonym. Be ill-bred, ill-mannered, rude, impolite, not courteous. What are you calling for here?
She's saying they're going to do civil
What
war.
are you saying, Hillary Clinton?
She's calling for civility.
All of them are saying it.
That's what she's saying.
All of them, multiple of them, not all. Let me clarify that. Some are saying that, but many are pushing for tensions in America. Here we are in election year, November, midterm
Republicans
election,
are the violent.
and they have upped their rhetoric times 100. They have played
Goodbye.
their trump card. They have literally labeled the
Who's this,
opponent
Mark?
as
Lisa
racist
Haven.
bigots,
Lisa.
and
Haven.
many of their followers
freak.
are believing that.
I'm sorry.
And it's just not true.
Well,
Anyhow,
Mark,
please
okay,
share this
I'm not
information
afraid of these
far and
people.
wide, and do not give in.
They are cowards, you know.
Okay. Okay. We're ready. In fact, that's it. That is it. And that.
Mark, I'm not afraid of these people. I think they are just cowards. Like they say all these things to scare people, but that's it.
Well, they have me scared because there's a lot of them on the internet, and it's a lot of what Republicans, as strange as it sounds to you or I, the Republicans are talking about. And I think
Jim Chase.
they have lost their mind. And Trump is like their archetype. He's their bizarre, half-brained god who's gaining power by freaking them out. And this woman goes on, other people do too, civil war is coming. And we got the guns, but they got the numbers, that kind of thing. And I think it needs to be paid attention to. And you need to be aware that Trump can lie. He can say anything. If Trump loses an election, he can say, "Oh, fake news," and he has
Mark,
the Republicans
I
willing to go along with
I
it.
trust the authorities, man. I mean, we have police, we have the FBI, we have the CIA. I mean, like police really. Not everyone is corrupt. No, not everyone is a racist.
Well,
in the police department.
No, not
So
everybody.
they will protect you. They will, if somebody commits a crime, they will arrest this person and they put it in jail. That's what I trust. I trust in the American institutions. I don't believe that the
Right.
Attorney General now is a Democrat is going to allow.
He's not a Democrat.
Yeah,
He's not going to be a Democrat.
The state Democrat.
Of Michigan.
The Michigan. I don't think she's going to allow this kind of violence against people. I mean, I'm pretty sure that.
Well,
I think the U.S. has solid institutions.
I would have said the U.S. has very solid institutions, and I would not have worried about anything that I'm saying a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, and even a year ago, I thought, I think we'll survive this Trump thing. But Trump is willing to push the envelope because he's not very attached to the constitutional state of the United States. He doesn't really have that concept. He has a concept of his own personality and his own power.
We saw yesterday going and vote because they want to change. They don't like this president. Most of the American people don't like Trump. There are freaks like you just showed they are crazy, but most of the people they're normal. They don't like violence. They don't want to attack anybody.
Well, I would say that most Republicans have ceased to be normal by our standards of what normal would be.
Yeah.
Look at it this way. When Adolf Hitler, just before he acquired ultimate power, a third of the people had gone totally unnormal, and they were killing Jews in the streets, and they were totally with Hitler.
There were no social media, Mark, those days.
Well, look, social media.
I mean, we have social media like right now. if somebody is doing something like in a demonstration or something public,
But
people have phones
you have to
and they can record.
you have to realize that Lisa Haven
these
is social
atrocities.
media also. The Republicans are doing social media also. And all this
but
crazy
it's
Trump
it's
support is
different-
emerging
different.
out of social media.
It's different to have these cuckoo pops in the social media, to have somebody like a journalist, a professional journalist with a phone or a camera on the streets filming some kind of atrocity that these people commit. That's different. Like yesterday I saw a video of some shootings in Florida. I mean, I saw this show. Somehow they showed this video. I mean, it's shocking. What these crazy cuckoo pups can do, like this violence, these shootings.
Yes.
Innocent. That's
But-
shocking to people, and that changed your mind. I mean, I think watching these videos is motivating people about these shootings to vote and change this government.
It may be that watching these videos.
We saw yesterday, Mike. The Democrats took the House of Representatives. That's unbelievable to me. I wouldn't think that was possible.
Well,
But
we still have an
it was.
extremely dangerous political party and an extremely dangerous political office holder, among other office holders, all very dangerous, who are actually in the center of political power right now in the United States. And I'm just saying, don't take that lightly. Don't think that the worst can't happen, and be very active politically in trying to stop this thing. I agree with Waters. I agree.
Agree with what?
With Maxine Waters. I agree with Eric Holder. You've got to, the Democrats and others who are not these crazy Republican Trump rights, make of their attention and activity that we could lose institutional state. We could end up with these people giving us martial law, civil war, mass arrests, mass incarceration.
You can change the politics of this country, Mark. I mean, like.
Oh, I think it can be, but that's what we try to do.
Like,
I'm trying to sound an alarm and just
the
celebrate.
Philippines shooting, it was amazing to me. I mean, all these new faces in the Michigan government, that's unbelievable to me. I was afraid of Shuri winning the governorship, and he lost.
That's good. It is a good thing. So it's not all.
Winnie Brink won.
It's not all. But
I mean, things are changing.
That's good. I mean, that's good. I don't think that now it's easy sailing, because the most dangerous people imaginable are in power, and they're not unwilling to suppress votes. They're not unwilling to generate racial hatred in order to maintain power. But I guess I've said my thing. You talk a little more about what so you insist that it's hopeful. What do you think that we should be thinking that we're not doing? Or should we just celebrate and relax?
Well, we need more candidates, more like Winnie Brings, like the new Gretchen, the new governor.
Gretchen Whitmer, yeah.
Gretchen Whitmer. I mean, they really are extraordinary people. Like winning this election in these times so dangerous, so polarized by these races and by these attacks against immigrants and minorities and people.
Keep talking though.
So I think we need more people like that. People who inspire other people, and you and me working for democracy. Let's encourage people to vote. Let's keep them out from power. Let's say to the racists goodbye. We don't want you here. Go back to your KKK
Trump's dad.
meetings, you know.
Trump's dad was a KKK guy. Did you know that?
So that's my bet. That's
Okay.
what I want to work for. Let's organize people. Let's go to the voting places and vote and keep them out.
I agree. I don't want to discourage people. I just want people to not think that we're out of the woods on this, so to speak, and that it is dangerous. But yeah, people should be encouraged, but don't just think, oh, I voted, now things are going to go great. It's not necessarily true. But yeah, work, but don't despair.
Bueno, Marco, aquí vamos a hacer un breve resumen de lo que hablamos esta noche en esta hora. Hablamos de... Oh, what? Are we still on?
No, we're still on. I was waving to your internet audience.
Oh, Mark Zapotowski, estaba yo hablando de lo que hablamos esta noche. Mark dice que hay gente muy radical en la ultraderecha, racistas y gente loca que quiere organizar violencia en contra de las minorías, en contra de los inmigrantes, pero yo pienso que ayer el pueblo de Michigan dio una muestra de lo que es la democracia y sacaron a patadas a Shuri y sacaron a patadas a muchos republicanos del gobierno. Gracias. Gracias, Marco.
Gracias. Gracias, Pablo. Gracias. You know, just because Lisa Haven doesn't wash her hair or uses too much cream rinse.
Nunca confíen en una mujer que no se lava el pelo.
Doesn't mean that we.
Esto fue CTV con su conductor Pablo Bello de Tiempo Latino. Hasta la próxima. So we were in YouTube too, Mark.
Yeah, that's good. All right.